Welcome to the Bob and Mike cast.
Welcome.
I am Mike Kaczmarczyk. I'm here with my fellow realtor Bob.
Hey, Mike. I'm
And
Bob Greenlaw.
And we are going to get into real estate life and life in general, I guess, right? Anything goes?
That's pretty much the motive of this, right? It's anything goes.
Yeah. So how are you doing today?
I'm here, man. I'm here.
I guess it's better than not being here.
I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we're in our mobile office right now. We're at my house because we're waiting on our office to be done.
Yep. Temporary digs.
Yeah. So we're working our way towards that. But this is our actual first podcast. This is the first one we're going to lay
Number
down.
one. Yep. This is the first one.
So,
Welcome us to the world of podcasting, as they say.
so I guess it's amateur hour, right?
It's amateur hour at its best. I hope.
Open mic night, right? As they say.
Yeah. Right. No,
So-
it is. Exactly. It is. It's this is our tool for putting things down and sharing life with people. And yeah, we love it. We love it.
Yeah. So a little background on us.
The number one question, right?
We've known each other for, I guess, since middle school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, we used to, we didn't get into too much trouble, but,
Nope.
we're
kids.
survive,
Yep, we're good kids.
But so we went through high school together. I actually went into accounting right after school. That was my, what I went to school for. Was working at a CPA firm, and just realized that it really wasn't for me. So I jumped into real estate actually before you.
Yeah.
And
year and a half before me, right?
It was 2004. 2004. Here's how I know, because a year later, you started.
Oh,
And
everything changed.
yeah, and that's the year I got married. So I know.
There
So
you go. That's right.
Funny story. But yeah, so we were kind of both at a crossroads of our career. I was coming out of accounting and into real estate. And
I was doing international packaging for a company. Horrible time doing that job. Horrible.
a lot of travel.
Yeah, travel and the stress and it was an all sales job. So, you were always trying to get a sale in. And so, it's tough work, hard work. We know that.
Oh yeah. Got to have some hard work in there.
Always.
It's okay. So we actually saw each other. We were at a mutual friend's daughter's communion.
Yep,
And
that's right.
What
Yep.
restaurant was that? Do you remember? It was in Dearborn. It was on Michigan Avenue. It was an Italian restaurant.
Was that on Diamo's?
Did they have one in?
Yeah, wasn't that the first one, or one of the ones they had was down on Michigan Avenue?
I don't think it was. It was further. It was further west.
I think it was on Diamo's.
It could be. I agree to disagree.
No, actually, I think it was at the Inn at St. John's.
No.
Yep, that's where they had her communion, was at the Inn
Okay.
at St. John's, in that one room down by the. Yeah. That's where it was, 100%.
Yeah. You sure?
We'll fact check it.
Well,
and
okay, yeah, we'll have to go back.
let the listeners know for sure, but I'm going to go with 99 on this one.
I can tell you though, there was a lot of wine being slung that night. So I don't really, or afternoon, I guess,
yeah.
right? So
We got drunk.
if I'm wrong, that's okay. I
Full
believe that.
deniability, you were drunk, right? We were drunk.
I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to argue with you.
All I know is I came out of there with a new career, and I just remember saying that I felt like I needed to do something different, and then through a lot of drinking and a lot of talking, you were so pumped up about doing real estate that I was like, yeah, let's do this.
So I sold you.
Hard
Gave
sell.
you the
man.
hard sell. So
You gave me the hard sell, and I bit. I fell and bit, but
yeah. So
it's been your burden to carry for the last 20. I know that.
So fast forward to 3 months later, something like that. You had your license. So 3 months later, and honestly, it's abnormal for at that time it was, at least for realtors to work as a team together, right? It was
right. It was a new concept it wasn't new, but it was
just never worked.
Yeah, it never really usually worked.
So we decided we just had a lot of fun. It'd be a lot more fun
Yeah.
to do it together.
Right.
It's,
I think that's it too. I think we both said it'd be more fun to try this.
So anyway, so Bob's brand new. He just gets his license. He's about to start. I think you were there all of maybe a week, couple days. You started, and
I don't even think a couple days. Right? You were getting married. You got
getting married.
You were leaving.
Yes,
And I had just gotten licensed, and I had to do an open house for you.
Yeah. So I had a listing and I said, hey, why don't you hold this open? Don't worry. Just got to stand there and talk. Hand out these flyers.
Right.
Answer questions about the house.
Right.
You're not going to have to do anything else.
Because I'm the type that doesn't talk. I'm the type that won't approach people when they come in. I mean, this was the worst piece of advice you could have given me that day. Is you're going to be standing here doing, little things, answering some questions.
I thought you'd be laid back and reserved,
Yeah, that was a chaotic day. You know the story. It was a great open house. I had no idea what I was doing. I was never told that it's rare for, people to sell open houses. You're there more to, introduce the house, give the neighbors an ability to come see it and all these other.
Just to get exposure.
Yeah.
I don't know what the percentages are, but they're very low.
They're low.
To actually sell the house at the open house.
Well, from what we were told, and this is going at that time.
It's a little bit different now.
A little different today.
But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at that time, houses, sat on the market. So one of the things you did was you had open houses, right? And so I'm doing this for you. Again, I have no idea what I'm doing. I remember talking to my wife on my phone and telling her like, wow, I really hope this is like, I hope I really made the right decision, I guess. Like, I don't know if I'm really up for sitting in houses and kind of being like, I'm just going to sit laid back. And everything you told me would happen didn't. It became very chaotic. People started showing up. Had tons of questions and, coming green off of having just taken my licensing test and to get licensed in the state, I didn't know any of these documents and you were gone. And the only person that I could go to that I felt like I could even like ask the question or look foolish was you. So I was like, oh my God.
And I'm in the Bahamas, unreachable.
Yeah, totally unreachable. Yeah. And I am flipping out. And I'm, I don't know what to do. You gave me the code to get into the building, I think from the airport. If I remember correctly, you like called me and you were like, oh yeah, by the way, if you need anything in the office, you can go in after hours. The code is X, Y, and Z. And just the office is open. I left it unlocked and my papers are there. So
were we texting back? I don't even know if we were texting back then.
Well, but I couldn't talk to you at that time. You couldn't reach anybody in the Bahamas.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. There was, no way. And I remember the strangest thing happened. So I get done with the open house. Anyway, it was a great open house, like I said. And the client, she decided the very last one that came through the house. And someone had been interested before her, remember? And at that time, you didn't really have this multiple offer thing like it's so regular now. Back then, you got a multiple offer. It was like, oh, my God, did I do something crazy or did I price it too low because it shouldn't be multiple? It wasn't that. It was just the right day. You had had it listed a couple days, a couple weeks. Mm-hmm. And she decided she wanted to buy this house and said, what do we have to do to buy it? And I literally remember, I think that was like one of the times, and there's not very many, as you know me so well. I'm never short on words. I am literally freaking out inside my head thinking, I know I'm going to botch this. I was probably going to botch this if you weren't.
They've gone over purchase agreements all of maybe 10 minutes in that class. Maybe. You're supposed to learn on the job, right? You're supposed to learn as you go, but you were on the job.
I was supposed to have a year and a half experience.
Yeah, it was day one. So
yeah.
By
the way, bad advice with you saying go do an open house on day one. By the way, just here you go. Yeah. Talk about throw the kid in the pool and pray he knows how to swim.
Yeah, push you off in the deep end, and
But you also know that pushes me, and we excel under those kind of conditions. So I guess at the same time, as I said, bad advice, it was great advice because 20 years later, bro, we're still here. Mm-hmm. We sold that house. That was day one.
So how'd you get through that contract? Because there were no, it wasn't done on the computer those days. You had to pencil in or, with pen, every blank in that contract.
Everything. And it looked like Sanskrit at one point. I left the open house. I went right to the office and luckily our client had, she needed about an hour.
Okay.
And I was like, take all the time you need. I'll be there.
You sure you don't want to do this next week?
Yeah. Do you want to do this tomorrow? And and at the same time, I was thinking in my head, because it was a Sunday, I was thinking in my head, we could push this to tomorrow, but I'm excited. She's ready to go. And having been in sales previous, in retail, customer's excited. He's buying, she's buying, you're selling. Let's get this over with.
And
right.
we're representing the seller.
And we were representing the seller, and we made all that, stuff abundantly clear when they bought it, but we could help them out. And that's the option that they obviously took. So for our client, which was the seller, obviously, we had to get the deal done. I mean, it was in their best interest to get this deal on paper and get it before the seller as soon as possible. And you weren't here. Again, I don't have to keep reiterating you weren't here. It's not your fault, by the way.
A lot of vacation, right?
Yeah, I mean, you deserved it. You had just gotten married. You know what happened at the wedding, so you needed to get out of town for a few days. But no, this fellow realtor, he walked in, and great guy, and if he ever listens to this cast, he knows who he is, and I'll always be indebted to forever for showing up that day, because he literally made it happen. He saw I was freaking out. I'm like, hey, blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, sit down, man. I'll help you out. And we sat down, and for that 20, 30 minutes that he went over everything, he calmed it down. He's like, listen, I'm going to be right over here in this room. If you need anything, come over, get me, I'll come in. And everything went, great. And by the time you got home, you were able to relook at everything, and everything was fine. And
so we made it through, and everything was good. Yeah. You locked it up. So it was kind of nice to come home to that. I'm on my honeymoon, and you come home and you say, how'd the open house go? Well, I sold it.
Sold it, man.
Yeah, we're good. We're done.
Well, that's what we're supposed to do, right? We sell things. We sell houses. That's what we do.
So that's another story. We'll get into that one right now.
We'll leave that for
we're in February now, just starting the month of end of January, beginning of February. It's open house season.
It is. Matter of fact, we were just talking about this before we started recording, right? I mean, we were talking about our current real estate business, and the things that are coming up over the next few, months. And we start thinking about that now, because to get what we do now for open houses, like we were thinking about the then and now, right? The things we do now are so much more over the top that we need actually time to schedule. So when our clients let us know that, we're going to be listing in, whatever date or this, whatever month, we can start putting together, okay, well, listen, we're going to want to do an open house, because today there are so few homes still on the market that introducing a home with an open house is, I think, a fantastic idea. If you're able to do it and you have the ability to do it, you should do it.
Well, spring for us is the best time, because we like to do a lot of things with, food trucks and Kona trucks.
That's our thing, man. That's what we do.
As you get later into the summer, graduations are going on, and those are so hard to get.
Right.
And
I mean, listen, how many times have we tried to call a Kona truck for anything when it's, June, July? It's there.
You're
done. Can't. You're done.
So you kind of have this short window, open house season that this is the most productive as far as we go with our big open houses, because we can get everything.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Supply and demand, it's, we're having a hard time getting that supply later in the summer.
Always. Right. And like you said, once the graduation parties start, especially in this area, I mean, those kind of services are tough. And we've booked them even early when we know in advance, and they're way more expensive, because obviously it's their season as well. So everyone is trying to take advantage of.
Yes.
But, we always refer to the then and now about open houses, and you were saying it, when we first started here today, about how you just told me, go do it. You take some flyers. You're going to ask some questions. You're going to show them the house. And then typically
throw it together in a few hours.
Sure.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, I think I'll be honest, in being fully transparent and honest, you did say a lot more than that. You did say I needed to go and get the balloons, and I needed to have balloons there. And you did have some flash about
directional signs, and all that stuff.
Yeah, you
back
were
then. That was big time.
Yeah, that was going up. That was going to the top, right?
You used to have to call the paper and get your ad in there.
Call
Remember the newspaper?
The newspaper,
because that's how you found your open houses.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, I've totally forgot about that. Yeah,
starting to feel old.
That actually does make me feel old.
But
not the knee hurting me. But
it's not the knee.
The fact that we used to be on newspaper,
not the aches and pains. But yeah, that's that's what it is.
No, but you're so right. It was the newspaper. Yeah, you had to do that. Yeah, but again, I do remember having to go and get balloons. I had to go to the office. That's why you gave me the code, because I had to go print all the flyers in color, and we didn't have a color printer at home at the time. We just was black and white, so we had to go to the office, right? And utilize that. And matter of fact, if I remember correctly, I think you had like the whole balloon setup and all that jazz already done in our office before you left. Like even before you went to the wedding, like you had us ready to go. Yeah. That sounds like you're right.
A little preparation just to make sure. Yeah. Just to make
sure
you
prepare it and then just throw me into the pond. Here's the preparation. It all looks good. Now go do it. I honestly, to this day, we say this is in so much fun about it over all the years. This was like the 12,000th time we've told that story. The open house market is beginning in real estate here. And even though I think it's 5 degrees outside today.
But the sun's out. So whenever the sun's out, you feel like there's, optimism and spring market is right around the corner.
Yeah. But again, it's 5 degrees outside. We're talking about Kona trucks.
Maybe not the best idea for this weekend.
Not this weekend.
But, in a few months. But the thing is, if you're planning on listing, now is the time. You contact your realtor now, because the planning that goes into place these days, right? Because last few years we've had multiple offer bidding war situations, but those don't just happen. I mean, you have to plan. You have to get your pictures in order. You have to send out that mass marketing and get everything in place so that you can have that big blowout and get those offers. It doesn't just, you throw up the sign and people are knocking at the door. I mean, you can do that, but you're not going to get the best offers.
Of course. And how many times have we had to do that? We've had clients that call us and say, hey, I'd like to list my house. Well, hey, can we, push it back a couple days or a couple weeks and start it? And then they're always like, no, we'd like to do this like right now, because they're impulsive. People are impulsive. Their job is to do for the client.
Yeah, but to do the full service, the full spectrum of actually what we do, give us some time.
Yeah.
Give us some time. It's in your best interest. It's in our best interest. We can get the people there.
Yeah.
And it just works out.
And often when we have more notice, you tend to feel like you got more service.
Yeah.
Because one, you got to spend more time with us, and
which is always a plus.
Always. Yeah. I mean, that's number one. And then two, you gave us time to actually let the machine, which is the real estate market, do what it does, right? Give a chance for it to be out there, to have an open house, to have flyers made. I mean, all those things have to happen based on giving people time.
I think they're great. I think you have to set them up, though. They're not just something you just do on a whim.
So when we do the open Kona truck, the whole neighborhood comes in front of the house. So it's we have done fun things with it because we've had time to prepare for it. So yeah, I guess the gist of it is if you think you're gonna, now is the time you should be thinking about getting things locked up.
Yes. But, so yeah, it's
you're always touching buttons, man.
I know. I'm just this soundboard here. I'm just trying to make sure everything's working right. Sorry.
You've got so much going on around us. It's insane.
I think that this is the best way to get our story out there and just get general information about real estate and what we have to say. I think this is the biggest forum that we can have, and we always try to send emails and text messages and that kind of thing, but that doesn't really get to everybody. And this is just a better forum, and we can kind of get that information out there and come from our experience and hopefully help some people.
Well, so. Listen, the goal, like we said before we got into doing this, the goal is simple. It's share.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it, right?
So this is fun. But I think that's about it. We'll wrap this one up.
Let's wrap it up.
And we'll get.
Thank y'all for listening.
We'll get out of here and.
Till the next one.
Yep.